Some Japanese motorcycles are so reliable that owners keep them for decades. But which ones are truly built to last? Number 20 through 11. Starting things off at number 20 is the Honda CRF 300L. This is Honda's lightweight dual sport, and it's become something of a cult favorite among riders who want a bike that can handle a commute during the week and a trail on the weekend without complaint. Owners consistently praise how little maintenance it demands beyond the basics, and its single-cylinder engine is about as low stress as it gets. The one honest caveat here is that it's not going to blow anyone away with power, so if you're looking for highway thrills, this isn't it. But for sheer dependability in a small package, it earns its spot. Number 19 is the Yamaha Bolt, Yamaha's answer to the classic cruiser formula. What keeps the Bolt on this list is its air-cooled V-twin, an engine that's mechanically simple enough that a competent home mechanic can keep it running for years with basic tools. Owners frequently mention going tens of thousands of miles with nothing more than standard service. The caveat worth mentioning is that cruisers like this aren't designed for long-distance touring comfort, so it's best suited to riders who want a dependable, stylish bike for shorter rides rather than cross-country trips. Number 18 belongs to the Suzuki DR650S, and this bike is basically a time capsule in the best possible way. Suzuki hasn't significantly changed it in years, and that's exactly the point. It still runs a carburetor and an air-cooled engine, which means fewer electronic systems that can fail and a mechanical simplicity that borders on bulletproof. Riders on forums consistently describe it as a bike that will outlast its owner with basic preventive maintenance. The trade-off is that it feels dated compared to newer competitors. But if raw dependability is the priority, that dated feeling is a feature, not a bug. Number 17 is the Honda Shadow 750, a cruiser that's been quietly building a reputation for going the distance without drama. Its engine has been refined over so many years of production that most of the early reliability kinks were worked out long ago. Long-term owners often report well over 100,000 miles with nothing beyond routine service. The honest downside is that it's not the most exciting bike to ride if you're chasing performance. But for riders who just want something that starts every morning, it delivers. Number 16 is the Yamaha TW200, a quirky little dual sport with oversized tires and a reputation among owners as being nearly impossible to kill. Its low power output actually works in its favor here, because the engine is barely being stressed under normal riding conditions, which translates into an incredibly long service life. The caveat is that its small size and modest power mean it's best for trail riding and short trips rather than highway commuting. But within that niche, it's about as dependable as motorcycles get. At number 15, before we go any further, here's something worth pausing on. A lot of riders assume that reliability just means how long the engine lasts, but that's only part of the story. The real test of a reliable motorcycle is how it behaves when it's been neglected, ridden hard, or left sitting for months at a time, because that's real-world ownership, not showroom conditions. Keep that in mind as we keep going, because it's exactly why some of these bikes earn their spot over flashier competitors. Continuing at number 15 is the Kawasaki Z650, a naked bike built around the same flexible parallel twin engine platform that Kawasaki has used across multiple models, including the Ninja 650 and the Versys 650. That shared engine has years of real-world testing behind it across different riding styles, and owners consistently describe it as needing nothing more than basic preventive maintenance to keep running smoothly. The only real caveat is that as a naked bike, it lacks wind protection for longer rides, but mechanically, it's one of the more dependable middleweights out there. Number 14 is the Honda CB300R, a naked bike that shares its engine architecture with Honda's other 300cc models. Because that engine has been proven across multiple platforms, any reliability issues were largely ironed out before this bike even launched. Owners frequently note how low maintenance it feels for a bike in this class. The trade-off is limited power for experienced riders looking to upgrade, but as a dependable entry point into naked bikes, it holds its own. Number 13 is the Suzuki GSX 250R. A beginner-friendly sport bike that doesn't get talked about as much as its competitors, but has quietly built a loyal base of owners who report minimal issues over years of ownership. Its smaller displacement engine runs well within its limits, which is part of why it holds up so well long-term. The honest downside is that it can feel underpowered once a rider gains experience, but for what it's designed to do, it's dependable. Number 12 goes to the Yamaha XSR 700, a retro-styled bike built on the same CP2 parallel twin platform found in several other well-regarded Yamaha models. That shared engine heritage means it benefits from years of refinement across the lineup. Riders often highlight how consistent and predictable it feels, mile after mile. The caveat is that the retro styling comes with a slightly firmer ride than some riders expect, but mechanically, it's proven. Number 11 is the Honda Rebel 300, Honda's most affordable cruiser. It's powered by a single-cylinder engine that's shared with other Honda models, meaning it's had years to be refined and tested. Owners describe it as close to maintenance-free for a beginner bike, needing little more than oil changes and basic checks. The trade-off, again, is limited power, but for new riders who want a bike they can trust completely while they're learning, it's hard to beat. Number 10 is the Kawasaki KLR 650, a bike that shows up on almost every reliability list for a reason. It's earned a reputation as one of the most unbreakable dual sports ever built, capable of crossing deserts, climbing mountain trails, and still getting its owner home without complaint. It's not the fastest or flashiest bike in Kawasaki's lineup, but owners consistently describe it as the machine they trust the most when things go wrong far from civilization. Its straightforward mechanical layout means fewer failure points, and its parts are widely available even for older model years. If there's a downside, it's that the KLR prioritizes durability over refinement, so the ride can feel a bit agricultural compared to newer adventure bikes. But that trade-off is exactly why it's earned this level of trust. Number 9 is the Suzuki SV650, widely regarded as one of the best beginner bikes ever made, largely because of how dependable it is. Its V-twin engine has been refined over more than 2 decades of production, and it's common to find owners reporting well over 100,000 miles, with nothing more than routine maintenance. What makes the SV650 stand out is that it doesn't just survive being ridden hard, it seems to thrive on it, which is part of why it's remained a favorite among both new riders and track day veterans. The only real caveat is that it lacks some of the modern electronic rider aids found on newer competitors, but for pure mechanical dependability, it's hard to find a better middleweight. Number 8 is the Kawasaki Ninja 650, which shares that same proven parallel twin platform we mentioned earlier in this list. It's a sport bike that manages to be comfortable enough for daily commuting, while still delivering real performance, and its engine has a well-documented track record of surpassing 100,000 miles with only routine care. Owners frequently mention how confidence-inspiring it feels, precisely because it rarely, if ever, gives them a reason to worry. The trade-off is that it's not going to satisfy riders chasing top-tier sport bike performance, but for everyday reliability, wrapped in a sporty package, it consistently delivers. Number 7 is the Yamaha Tenere 700, an adventure bike that's earned glowing praise on forums and social media alike, with riders often calling it a reliable beast for how well it handles off-road abuse with minimal downtime. Its 689cc parallel twin engine is borrowed from the MT-07, a platform already known for its dependability, and that shared DNA shows in how consistently the Tenere 700 performs even after being pushed through rough terrain. It's become a favorite among long-distance adventure riders, specifically because it keeps running when lesser bikes would need attention. The one downside worth noting is that its off-road focused suspension setup can feel firm for pure street riding, but that's a small price for this level of dependability in the dirt. Number 6 is the Suzuki V-Strom 800DE, the most powerful bike on this list at over 80 horsepower, and yet it still manages to return impressively efficient fuel economy alongside its reliability credentials. It proves that dependability and performance aren't mutually exclusive in the Japanese motorcycle world. Owners appreciate that, despite its power, the engine feels engineered with margin to spare rather than being pushed to its absolute limit, which tends to translate into fewer long-term issues. The caveat here is that as a newer model, it doesn't have quite as many years of long-term ownership data behind it as some of the older bikes on this list. But early signs and Suzuki's track record with this engine family are extremely promising. Number 5 is the Yamaha R3. The sportiest bike to make this list, and proof that reliability doesn't have to come at the expense of an engaging ride. Returning around 56 miles per gallon, while still delivering genuine sport bike thrills, the R3 has built a reputation among owners as a bike that can be ridden hard on a regular basis, without the mechanical drama some sport bikes are known for. It's often recommended as a first sport bike specifically because new riders can push it without constantly worrying about what might break. The trade-off is limited long-distance comfort, given its sport-focused riding position. But for spirited, dependable riding, it holds its own against far more expensive machines. Number 4 is the Honda CB500 series, a lineup that includes the naked CB500F, the Sport Touring CB500X, and the faired CB500R, all sharing the same well-proven engine. This platform has years of refinement behind it, and it's consistently praised by owners for feeling nearly bulletproof regardless of which body style they choose. Because the same engine has been tested across multiple configurations and riding styles, any weaknesses have largely been engineered out over time. The honest caveat is that the CB500 lineup isn't going to win any drag races. But for riders who want proven dependability with the flexibility to choose their preferred riding position, it's one of the smartest choices in Honda's entire catalog. Number 3 is the Honda Africa Twin, Honda's flagship adventure bike and a machine that's earned serious respect from long-distance and off-road riders alike. It's built to handle the kind of abuse that would sideline lesser adventure bikes, and its engine has a strong track record of holding up through demanding, high-mileage expeditions across difficult terrain. Owners often point to how confidently it handles both extended highway stretches and technical off-road sections without needing extra attention along the way. The trade-off is its higher price point compared to other bikes on this list, but for riders who need a machine they can genuinely rely on far from a dealership, it delivers. Number 2 is the Honda Goldwing, a bike that's been a fixture in long-distance rider conversations for decades because of its reputation for bulletproof reliability. Powered by a 1,833cc liquid-cooled six-cylinder engine, producing around 126 horsepower, it delivers smooth, effortless power that's perfect for covering thousands of miles without strain. What makes the Goldwing so trusted isn't just its power, it's the sense of engineering overkill built into every component. Designed for riders who expect to cross entire countries without a single mechanical concern. The only real downside is its size and weight, which can feel intimidating for newer riders, but for pure long-haul dependability, few bikes in the world can match it. Number 1 is the Honda Super Cub. If you've been riding motorcycles for any length of time, you already know exactly why this bike belongs here. The Super Cub is the highest-selling, most produced motorcycle in history, with over 100 million units sold worldwide since it was first introduced in 1958. That number alone tells you everything you need to know, but what makes it truly remarkable is that it earned that reputation through decades of real-world use in some of the harshest conditions imaginable, from crowded city streets to rural roads with little to no maintenance infrastructure. Its small, simple, single-cylinder engine is easy to maintain, incredibly fuel-efficient, and has proven time and time again that it can run for years, sometimes decades, with only the most basic care. There's a reason the Super Cub is often the bike people point to when they want to explain what reliable actually means in the motorcycle world. It's not the fastest, the most powerful, or the most exciting bike on this entire list, but it might be the most trustworthy machine ever put on two wheels.